And
I'm so happy to have Carol Schuyler, the president of the Bainbridge Public Library Board, Betsy Bidinger, who's the president of the Bainbridge Island Friends of the Library, and Nichole Valencia, who's the branch manager. And you guys all come together to make this wonderful community facility that we all enjoy. And I don't know how unusual it is, but it is wonderful that you have all these different organizations working together in a different way to kind of make the possibility of a library.
It's very unique. It's almost unknown. So
tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's unusual from the standpoint that we have three organizations, one that's tax supported, which of course is Kitsap Regional Library, and two 501c3s that come together to make your library service in this community. And Bainbridge Public Library actually began in the mid-60s with a new building. And we have never received any tax money. We've only received donations to make things happen. And the first building was built with a donation from $100,000 from the Rotary. And we
I guess that's the origin of the Rotary auction.
Yes, it is. We set the tone for years of success.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we set the tone for years of success. And so we're basically the building owners. Kitsap Regional Library are our tenants, but we're very close related. They're not renters, they're tenants. And so we take care of each other. And then of course, the Bainbridge Island Friends of the Library raises money to support both programs for KRL. For instance, the Friends of the Library are supporting a teen program this summer for learning how to play a ukulele. We support the summer learning program for the children and adults now of Bainbridge Island. And so it's remarkable how, even though each one of us performs a different function, that we all know it takes all three of us to make it successful. And before you got here, I was saying that we often described ourselves as a three-legged stool, that without one of the legs, we'd fall over. So we need all three legs to function to make it work.
And so there wasn't a library on Bainbridge before the building was built.
No, there were 4 or 5 neighborhood libraries. Like there was one out at Rolling Bay in someone's front room, that sort of thing. And the earliest library service on the island was performed by Bookmobile, but there was never a library until we built one here. Yes.
Yeah, that was when I grew up in rural Whidbey Island. I remember the glories of the Bookmobile, but that's
yes,
and that's great. But this is so much better, and it's a community meeting place. It's a place to celebrate art. And it's beautiful grounds. So you as the president of the Bainbridge Public Library Board are responsible for the building and grounds?
That's correct. And it's not only just paying the monthly electric bills, it's replacing the roof if it's needed. We're putting in a new elevator this spring. Ours was built in 1997, and the electronics are in danger of going out. And so the board decided to be proactive, and we're going to replace the parts before we lose the elevator, because if we don't, we can get into a 6-month waiting line for the parts by doing it now. Yeah, and if you think of the 2 floors of the library, either for staff or the public, it doesn't work. You know, they have to have easy access to both floors to enjoy using the library and successfully perform their business. So anyway, we'll now be down probably about a week, I think, instead of 6 months. And we're planning on actually closing the library for that week, because then we can actually do a lot of mediation in the meeting room that needs to be done as well. So we're going to refurbish the meeting room for hanging art better, like you talked about. So we just thought we'd take advantage of one thing to make more than that happen, so we don't have to inconvenience people.
That's great. And so that's the Public Library Board. And then Betsy, you're the president of the Friends of the Library, which Carol made a brief reference to. Can you describe what your organization does?
yes. So the Friends of the Library were established in 1971 by a librarian called Virginia Mudge. Isn't that great? A doctor who served on the board, and Millie Woodward, who we've all heard and know of. Millie Woodward the person who, with her husband, had started the Bainbridge Review. And since then, friends have been raising funds to support current and ongoing library needs for the facilities, the grounds, summer learning program, little things like the fish tank, which everyone loves, from tiny things to bigger things. And there's an endowment now that's been established so that there will always be some support ongoing and into the future.
So it's
And we
kind of
do
like,
that mostly by having those wonderful book sales.
yeah, they are
3
very,
times a
very
month.
popular,
Yes,
and it's surprising what you'll find there.
it is. And we also have foyer sales that are just by honor system that people can stop in and take a look at anytime the library is open.
So when I drop in some money for a magazine or something, that's also going to FOL?
Yes.
And we also have an online presence. We sell on Amazon and eBay as well.
Yes.
Our most expensive books go online.
And that's the Friends of the Library you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm also a friend.
Oh, well,
There's a link to that through the KRL website, the Bainbridge branch friends. And if you ever want to look at those books, it's pretty fun to see all the wildly different things that come through those doors.
yeah. So, so when you're looking at programs that you're going to provide, the person we haven't talked to yet is Nichole.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that you would work closely with her and the KRL staff to figure out what is most needed. Nichole, you want to talk a little bit about how you interface with these folks?
Yeah, I would love to. I am very lucky to get to work with these incredible organizations that support everything that we do at the Bainbridge branch. We are just one of 9 locations in the Kitsap Regional Library system. We also have an incredible mobile services department that reaches out to temporarily and permanently patrons who aren't able to get out into the library. So we have a wide range of services, and over the years have created this system that has connected all of Kitsap together. What we do with BPL and the Friends, especially with programming, is I work directly with our librarians. So the branch manager works with the librarians. The librarians do all of the hard work, the legwork to create research and implement these incredible programs that are for free for the entire community. And it's not just for Bainbridge, it's anybody who comes. So you could have somebody from out of state and they can come in and enjoy our program for free. And so sometimes these programs are provided from our normal KRL budget, but there are times where they're really significant programs and we need a little bit more support. So we're not completely draining those resources. And so that's where the Friends of the Library comes in. They have supported us so frequently with incredible programs. Like this summer, they have funded the ukulele camp for teens that we'll be having. And they do a lot of that. They also provide even more funding for the summer reading program overall. And anytime we need anything, whether it's for programming or it can be, something special for the branch, we can go to the Friends and request it. And I can tell you the Friends have never told us no. The Friends are desperate to support us and to provide amazing things for this library. And they trust us as professionals to know what those needs are and to identify those and help support them.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's just such an incredible relationship because it's so reciprocal. We support each other's goals. We all have similar overlaid goals. We want to provide this incredible hub and heart for our community, and it just isn't possible without this incredible group of people on all 3 of these organizations that help provide this incredible base of just wonderful programming and services and connection in the community.
Yeah, what Carol was saying about the elevator, I think, that's one of those things that we take for granted, but they are extremely expensive and difficult sometimes to maintain. So having a partner who's going to help look out for the infrastructure is a real win.
There's a whole facilities committee through BPL that are constantly visiting the library and assessing what needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, Nothing gets left to the wayside with BPL. They are so proactive, like Carol was saying. They don't wait for something to become a problem and react to it. They try to get ahead of things. If
Yes.
something does come up, they are so fast to respond and make sure that that support is there, that our building remains not only beautiful, but functional and safe. And, we recently had our committee annual inspection and everything is doing great. There was, nothing of dire need that needs to be addressed, just some things where we were like, oh, we'd like this done here, and that's another thing that BPL supports. It isn't just, the really important things like the electricity daily and keeping the building functional in the elevator, but it's also providing updates to spaces in the library that might need it, like adjusting this art wall to be more functional for this incredible thing they do, where they have the first art walk of the month, and they support it by also having the viewing in the meeting room. And they if they've helped with various things in the library that might need support and a little bit more funding than maybe Carol is able to support in one location at a time. And so having that relationship is so vital. And even outside of the board, it comes together, and I think both Betsy and Carol can agree, from all the donations and the patrons and the
Yes.
community members that are so dedicated to this library. and
If
this
you really think
resource.
about it, that we can sit here and say that our entire building is privately funded, and you look at what is being privately funded, I'm in awe.
Yes, I recognize that the building wouldn't be there for if not for BPL. But what I didn't know was how much work you do to continue to maintain it and to improve it
Yes.
and to make sure that it's in not only working order, but meeting the functional and service needs. I know that you had a big remodel. You can tell me how many years ago.
Oh, the
We did it-
refresh.
We called it a refresh, and we did it 5 years ago. And for instance, you wouldn't probably even remember any longer, but where the one whole wall of glass is now in the meeting room that looks out into the haiku garden, there were no windows. And now we brought the outside in. So, and there again, the Rotary was very supportive of that remodel in that room, especially. But, libraries needs change over the years. You need different kinds of spaces for different kinds of programs. And, our goal is to stay up with everything. In fact, we're having our BPL board retreat tomorrow, and Jason Driver is going to be our keynote speaker, because if he has a vision down 10 years, we need to start knowing where we should start, because we can't just
True.
say, well, here's a check for 10 years of dreaming. We've got to say, okay, how are we going to accomplish this for you? So it's really, that's part of our relationship too, is as libraries change, how do we need to change our building to meet the change of the needs of the users? And that's one of the things that the refresh did just 5 years ago, but
Oh,
we-
it's made a tremendous difference. I remember holding activities in the old room over there that it did feel completely different.
Mhm. Well, we have the ability now to slide open those doors. All the bookshelves that are outside those doors slide in between other bookshelves, so that we can open that whole front area to accommodate almost 300 people. So it's just, the thoughtfulness that went into that design to make the building more usable for many different kinds of activities was just amazing. And that we were able to manage to make it happen even more amazing.
And I'd like
And
to
it-
add, if you haven't seen the children's library lately, it also looks amazing, and it's been reorganized to accommodate all those little people, and the children's librarian has done a fantastic job. It's really quite something.
In fact,
Lisa has done a lot in her early months of being a children's librarian. She has just transformed that space to be just more user friendly and a little more intuitive of where things are. It is an adjustment for people who were used to where things were, but it's so much more functional, and like all of the audio visual things are together and in the same side. Things kind of age up as you go through the different areas. So it's a lot better organized, and we are still working on it. Like, she is constantly working to make that space as functional as possible, especially as we continue to just grow the amount of children we have on the island and how many are so interested in the library. Like, we just did our third graders to the library with Wilkes Elementary, and we had 3 whole classes who were just so excited to be there and to see the kind of inner workings behind the scenes. And it is such a fun experience just bringing people into the library and seeing how much they love it from young to old. It's
So we
incredible.
missed, Nichole, we missed the children librarian's name.
Isla,
Great.
Isla, Isla. She is incredible. She's phenomenal. She started in that role shortly before I became the branch manager in September. I think she was a few months before me. Don't quote on the exact timeline there. But, in this incredible amount of time, less than a year, she has really transformed that space. She's brought programming back. She's got people very dedicated, returning regularly for programming, really started building strong relationships with various community partners. And she's just incredible. I cannot say enough about this staff, from all of our amazing library assistants and associates to our librarians and Wendy, who is our public services supervisor. We just have an incredible amount of dedicated people, from staff to patrons, just all the way across the board. This is an incredible island.
Well, we love to hear the compliments, don't we, Islanders? Anyway, I know that one of the challenges that I have had in the past is, trying to figure out what I'm donating to. So I thought that there must be, there are some challenges when you're like both Friends of the Library and BPL being on One Call for All, or I wanted to get the word out so you could understand that actually all parts of this come together to be part of your donation, or the.
Well, in fact, it's interesting because when I was president of the Friends of the Library now a good number of years ago, and oddly enough, you might be interested to know that I actually retired out of Kitsap Regional Library too. So I just kept going. When I came back, when I retired, I felt like I wanted to give back to the community. And so this is the role I've taken. But I was president of the Friends, and I was interested in having the Friends be part of One Call for All. But the first thing I did was ask BPL how they would feel about that, because what I didn't want to be was taking donations away from them any chance, because One Call for All is really important to us. And they said no, because ultimately it all goes to the same place, regardless of which. It's a longer term feed from the Friends of the Library. The Friends of the Library are for emergencies or long range planning, whereas BPL needs to pay our power bill every month. But as a matter of fact, the fun thing that happened out of it was not only did the Friends of the Library get donations through One Call for All, BPL got more donations.
Well, I didn't, that's a perfect story.
It is.
So you have found that there's a great deal of support for both organizations, and what confusion there is worked out over the years.
It has, we have never since then decided to change it, because obviously if there was confusion and one organization was taking away from the other one, it would be the Friends who would probably back down faster, because they know that their money is basically going into a savings account as well as for ongoing programs, but they don't need the amount of money to run the library per year. But we haven't. We felt really supported by everyone through both organizations.
Yeah, when I hear about some of those special programs, we've talked several times about ukulele, but there are other things with kids, with games, and trying to engage people in the library in ways that get them connected. And then we talked with Jason Driver a few weeks ago, and then, as he would say, I think, get them involved in books is a great thing. Yep. Written material, but sometimes it takes a couple of steps to get there with younger people.
Well, it does. And of course, for adults, we have Library U, and that's sponsored by the Friends of the Library. So, and we had 187 people there last Sunday.
There you go.
Yes.
You want to say more about that, Betsy?
Well, I was just gonna say, as far as like the summer learning program, that's the new name for the summer reading program, and that is based on reading for the kids. But I think you're right that some of these programs are just to get a family in the door to the library and really see what all there is to offer. Of course, reading and the books are always the main thing in a library. But I think other materials and programs to get people, interested in enjoying the library are just icing on the cake.
Well, in
Well,
fact,
right, it's icing on the cake, or in some cases, entry points for people.
Definitely. Definitely.
for
Carol?
instance, well, I say, for instance, I just learned myself, and I was embarrassed, I didn't know before, that you can borrow telescopes from the library.
Yes, Nichole told us about that. Amazing.
So, the kinds of things that people want or need or want to experience, for instance, before they buy something, they're able to check them out and see how it works.
So, yeah, as long as you mentioned telescopes, I guess, Nichole, what other kinds of things might we not know about? I know Tressa Johnson, who's very active here at the Senior Center, clues us into a lot of ongoing things, but if there's something that you think we might be interested in.
Oh yeah, there's always something added or going on or something to highlight. Kind of going back to what Carol said, libraries are constantly changing. They're transformative spaces, and so our services are constantly changing. What we provide, what materials. Yes, we are always going to have books and audiobooks, but we also have CDs, and we've got DVDs, and just to kind of tie back in that program, we have ukuleles, which is why that kind of ended up being the perfect program. You can check out ukuleles from the library. You can check out telescopes. You can also get Discover passes, which let you go to the parks in Washington for free. And so they also come with some other items in them. It's an entire kit. So I think don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure there's like binoculars. There's a couple things in there. So you get to actually have a really good experience and actually get to go discover the outdoors. So the library is about connecting you with all sorts of things you might not be able to connect to on your own. And those services are just constantly changing and adding and evolving. So who knows what we'll have in a year or 5 years. And
well, Nichole, the numbers you've reported from just programs that you've got going again are just incredible.
Yeah.
People do want to be there.
Yeah. People want to be back at the library, and they just want to be together. And the library is where you're going to find the ability for anybody and everybody to connect together, regardless of socioeconomic status, any of their history, anything that's going on with them. They can come there, they can have a great time, they can do it for free, they can meet other people. And I think that's no more clear than now. Tressa and I actually talked about this a lot, that from these numbers, it's really obvious that people are just desperate to connect again. And they want to do it in these low stress environments with things like Crafternoon, where you can just come in and do some crafts and talk to each other, or art in action. People just want to like come together in a really low pressure space to interact. And then you've got on the other end of the spectrum, John has put so much effort into his community partnerships, and we have such great discussion and discourse that's going on, from like the film group and the book clubs to Bainbridge Reads for Justice, that we've partnered with them on that. And it's incredible because you see everybody really engaging with our community and with each other, and it's such day and night from what we've had to endure.
Of course, to me, I've noticed in my lifetime, as we all have, that the research aspects of libraries has become increasingly digital, because that's how we catalog things anymore. I am not going to go look for the reader's guide to find my magazine.
No, you're not.
It's a lot easier to get that information and to research a lot faster. And you can use, a large majority of our databases just with your library card from home. You don't even have to go into the library to be able to research those things now, which is what the internet's brought to us. People thought that when the internet came around and became a big thing, that libraries would go the way of the dinosaurs. But no,
Yes.
if anything, it's increased people's connectivity to the library. It has increased what we can provide. And, you know, not everybody has equal access to digital aspects. So not everybody has a computer, not everybody has internet. Not everybody even has a cell phone. So having the library be this space you can come to and even use a computer for free, and get your, you know, print out your resume or apply for jobs. You know, it is.
Or
it's
read
fundamental.
the senior center newsletter.
That's
We
Yeah,
right.
exactly. That's right. You know, watch something to talk, something to talk about. So, you know, there's a lot of amazing things you can do, whether you have that stuff at home or not. And it's incredible. We just have so many awesome resources, and it's constantly growing.
Well, thank you for your hard work on that. And thank you, Betsy and Carol. Thank you all
Oh,
for
thank
taking the
you.
time and your patience with me.
No,
Happy to.
Thank you.